Well, kids, we're going back to that wonderful world of Transanity.
Butterfly in the sky.
Fuck.
This time, women's golf.
No! God! Come on, man.
A dude who sucked at the men's game decides to feel pretty
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
and is trying to qualify for the 2025 LGPA Tour.
What the fuck?
Only one thing stopping him. He's a fun dude. I'm Jazz Berganzo, and this, just like boxing, another sport for women that's getting fun.
Fuck off!
And it's what's next. What's up, everyone? Jazz Berganzo, what's next? Your daily dose, common sense, facts, and salt. Hope you guys are feeling good today as we start off the week. Well, after coming off one of the most shitstorms weeks that's ever been, aka the DNC convention, that woke fest of nonsensical garbage, we settle down. We get back to what we like. You know, you got the NFL season just around the corner. So, talk about sports? You bet. After seeing women's sports being violated, we saw it in weightlifting, we saw it in, high school wrestling, we saw it in swimming, Will Thomas, anyone? And of course, recently, at the most woke and the most demonic Olympics that's ever been televised, we saw it in boxing, where not just one, but two dudes who like to feel pretty beat up women in the ring legally to get the gold medal. So now we get away from the amateur ranks and we go back to the pro ranks. Women's golf. A dude who likes to feel pretty, who sucked as a man playing against his own, decides to flip the script, put on some boobs, and say, you know what? I feel like a woman today, so much so that I'm just going to qualify for the LGPA Tour in 2025. But only one thing stopping him. He's still a fucking dude. And here we go. This comes out of Outkick. Trans golfer Haley Davidson takes next step towards LGPA Tour qualification. Outkick's Riley Gaines reacts. And of course, it's a good one. Trans mental golfer Haley Davidson took a major step forward in qualifying for the LGPA Tour. Davidson, a dude, finished tied 42nd against female competitors competing at the Rancho Mirage in California, ultimately making the cut at the LGPA Q Series pre-qualifying stage. Davidson finished with a final round of 71, 1 under, finishing with 284 after 4 rounds. The next round of Q School will take place in October, and Davidson's inclusion continues to concern over permitting men to compete in women's sports. Again, more women's sports getting trashed. As reported by Outkick's Mark Harris, the LGPA Tour allowed Davidson to compete this season, but it's reviewing its current gender policy to enforce changes by the start of the 2025 season. Gee, I wonder what those changes would be. Outkick's Riley Gaines shared her thoughts on Davidson's inclusion and step towards Q School and qualification. Gaines, he is vying for the opportunity to advance in the 2025 LGPA Tour. Looks like a mediocre male will be among the top 95 qualifying female golfers to move on later today. She commented with the reaction from female competitors facing off against Davidson, who also object to men's inclusion in women's sports. Yes, diversity. Gaines said, cool, to see some female golfers fed up the tour, letting their voices be heard. The LGPA Tour continues to discriminate against women. Dude who likes to look pretty, I've got boobs. That makes me a woman. No, that makes you mentally ill. So pathetic. This is so pathetic. And for real women out there trying to qualify, this dude took one of their spots again. Like Will Thomas, similar trans competitors, Haley Davidson feels entitled to a position in women's sports despite being a dude. Davidson has thrown public jabs at critics, calling angry critics failed female athletes. Quote, I will never understand athletes who blame a transmental competitor on their own athletic failures. Davidson previously posted on Instagram. If you don't take your accountability for your failures, then you will never be actually good enough to make it. Like Will, and similar transmental competitors. Haley Davidson feels entitled to a position in women's sports despite being born a dude. Davidson has thrown public jabs at critics, calling angry critics failed female athletes. Quote, I will never understand athletes who blame a transmental competitor on their own athletic failures, Davidson previously posted on Instagram. If you don't take your accountability for your failures, then you will never actually be good enough to make it. Basically saying, well, I'm a better woman than you are because I'm a dude. Davidson and Thomas, who also faced criticism for underperforming against male competitors before transing to women's events while competing against men at UPenn. Thomas ranked 65th national in the 500-meter freestyle and 554th in the 200 freestyle. Later, Thomas became a top-ranked women's swimmer in the 500 and was ranked number 5 in the nation at 200. Gee, I sucked against other dudes. Let me flip the script, and now I'm number 1 in women's. Gee, isn't it great how that works? Davidson advances to the qualifying stage of Stage 2, scheduled for October. Players will compete in the final stage of the LPGA Q School in December, vying for status on the LPGA Tour for 2025. My thoughts. Well, just like we've seen in other sports, just like I talked in the beginning of the video, you had amateur wrestling, you had high school wrestling, you had swimming, you had bicycling, and of course the hideous display at the Olympics in boxing where you had not just one, but 2 dudes who like to feel pretty, beating up women in the middle of the ring to get the gold medal. And now we have this. So it's just a natural progression, We're just going to go after incrementally all the women's sports one by one, until we have them all. Until men prove that they are better women than women. So you've got this clown who likes to feel pretty, who sucked against the men's squad, who couldn't make it against the dudes, decides to flip the script, put on some fake boobs, pumps, wig, lipstick. You know what? I feel like a woman today, so I'm going to go play golf against the women. And now I'm on the verge of actually qualifying to move on to the next round to possibly go on for the LPGA Tour, in 2025. And I'm glad that there was like Riley Gaines are out there who's shooting their mouths off, who basically saying, guess what? This is bullshit and this needs to stop. LPGA, you guys need to step up and squash this dude. You cannot allow this guy to qualify. And I'm glad that there are others who are stepping up. But the biggest voices need to be heard is from the women golfers themselves. They are the ones who need to step up. And I mean the highly ranked ones. And I guess it really doesn't have to be the highly ranked ones. It could just be anybody who's qualified for the tour in the past. Just say, guess what? No. A dude who likes to look pretty is not going to invade our space just like they did with Will Thomas and Riley Gaines to gain advantage and to try to win at our game. But we'll see. Hopefully there are voices that do step up, more so than Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines has been a champ. She's been an absolute champ. But at the same time, there's got to be more than her. Has to be. Because if not, shit like this is going to continue. And you know what? As a guy, you don't want to see this. You don't want to see this. And isn't there a reason why you don't see women? You don't see women trying to be dudes and trying to invade dude space because they can't. Physically, they can't. They just can't. But that's science. That's biology. But when you flip the script and do it the other way, oh, no. It's about my feelings. Diversity, inclusion, equity, DEI, or as I like to call it, DIE, die, and it needs to die. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Borganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it, hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always, and we'll see you next time. Peace.